That's right, we're back for another month. It's going to be the best of Board Game Geek. Also, I'm sick, I'm sorry.
That's right, as Nick said, it is time for Best of Board Game Geek. We talk about everything going on right here at Board Game Geek, the hottest games, a bit of Board Game Geek news. And speaking of the news, let's hop into it.
Alrighty, we usually have a store update for the news, and this month is no different. We have a whole bunch of cool stuff coming, particularly a bunch of 3D printed stuff. But I want to say, first of all, that the Board Game Geek store will be at Essen Spiel. There is a little bit of a question there so you can kind of figure out some questions you might have about what they're bringing all the way out to Germany. But there are also a whole bunch of cool 3D printed bits. 3D printed bits for all sorts of different games. There's like birdhouses for Wingspan to kind of replace the cubes as your player markers. There are ones for like Arc Nova for like the pavilions and the kiosk and a little coffee cup, which is super, super cool. There's ones for like Bang, Power Grid, all these different things. That is really, really cool. There's also ones for Quacks of Quedlinburg. There's like a little rat, so your like rat-tailed marker goes up. It's very, very cool. I love 3D printing. I think 3D printing is really, really cool. We don't have a 3D printer anymore, but I really want to get one back because I really enjoy doing it. And it's cool to see all of these bits inside of BGG. So make sure to check out the BGG store to pick some up for yourself and check out all the rest of the stuff that's there.
As always, Board Game Geek has you covered on the upcoming conventions, creating preview lists. And Essen Spiel, the big, giant, worldwide largest convention ever in Germany, is coming right up. And you can find out about all the games that are going on. Games are going to be available for demo. Games are going to be available for sale. You can kind of thumb up the things that you're interested in, get a whole kind of idea of the things that you want to go check out if you're going to the convention, or if you kind of want to follow along from home like we're going to do. It's really cool to see kind of what games are capturing people's attention. You can sort things by kind of the thumbs and stuff, the hotness. You can filter out things, again, if you just want to see things that are going to be available for demo and all that stuff. All sorts of great things that are populated by the publisher. So make sure you go check out the Essen Spiel preview.
Alrighty, so that was some news, but you're here for the hottest games of the month. So let's sit on down and talk about that hotness.
This coffee is hot, but you know what's even hotter still? These board games.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and hop into number 10. Number 10 on the hottest right here is going to be Andromeda's Edge.
Yes, so this is from Cardboard Alchemy, and this is was on crowdfunding a while back, and I'm sure it was on the hotness then, and now it's starting to deliver. So you're starting to see content about the kind of finished product now.
Yeah,
and this kind of big space exploration game. So you're
like starting just a space kind of space station. You have a couple ships.
Humble
you're exploring out. Kind of like populating planets, doing all this different, getting resources, things like that. It's kind of a spiritual successor to Dwellings of Eldervale.
That's what I've always heard.
I think so,
I don't know like exactly how accurate that is, but that's what we kind of heard back when it was on crowdfunding. But yeah, it's a big exploration game, like really cool ships and stuff. The minis and things are really,
it's so good.
Which is a heavily,
Dwellings of
highly
Eldervale
produced.
is so extra, but in a fun way.
Yeah,
and this is also pretty extra.
Absolutely,
and I'm here for it.
And like, why not? If you want space to kind of feel like grandiose, as you're building this giant fleet and stuff, and going around and exploring. So now it's hitting people's hands. I'm sure it'll be in the hotness for a little while people kind of get to finally explore this game.
Really want to try it.
Yeah, me too. It's one that's like, I remember when it first came out, I was like, dang, that looks pretty cool. And now I guess we can have a chance to go pick it up. So that is Andromeda's Edge, number 10.
Number 9 is mostly here. It was very hot during Gen Con. We'll say that this hotness top 10 is kind of all over the place because
mix.
There's a lot of stuff that was really, really hot in the very beginning of the month because that was during Gen Con, but then kind of aren't anymore. It's really kind of all over the place. But during Gen Con, one of the hottest games was Undaunted 2200 Callisto.
Yes, from
by Osprey Games. They only had a couple copies there a day, and they sold like that.
I think they did like 20 copies a day or something. A very limited amount were available at the convention. Undaunted is a super popular series of games now that are these war games.
Lighter war games,
lighter war games. And this one is Undaunted set, in World War II and various kind of arenas and things like that.
Battle Britain, Stalingrad, things like that.
Yeah, and then this is the first one that's kind of going away from that model and moving into the future in 2200 and in space. You're
but it's still very Undaunted, where you're like playing cards and stuff like that. And apparently it's very. We actually have it. We finally got it. Haven't had a chance to play it. Still haven't played any Undaunted games. I know. Don't find us. Don't add us in the comments. We know, but we really, really want to all of them. But then we got this one, so I really want to play it soon because our good friends at Foss Meeple really liked it. They love Undaunted, and so I really want to try it.
And it feels like what we've heard from them is that if you know Undaunted, you'll be able to hop right into this. But in the rulebook, they literally have like, if you've played Undaunted, this is what's different kind of thing. Yeah,
which
is always really cool. So it's like kind of more stuff to explore. Couple new mechanisms and things to bring in. I think like one side has like mechs and stuff. They have different vehicles and things.
It's like 4 different like double-sided boards because like all these different kind of scenarios or something you can play. It's cool. Yeah.
Yep. So that's Undaunted 2200 Callisto.
Next up is going to be Resafa, which is the new Vladimir Suchy game, which I'm guessing will be dropping at
Essen.
At Essen. He always has a new game in Essen. And
that's
this one
the typical,
is going to be Resafa.
Delicious games. We kind of do one a year typically. Vladimir Suchy, of course, very well known designer. One of our personal favorites. Has done underwater cities and shipyard, woodcraft recently, evacuation last year. And this seems like very much like in the Vladimir Suchy wheelhouse.
You only have 18 turns.
18 turns. And you are in Resafa, and you are merchants and things, and you are trying to build up your workshops, produce resources, but you're in an area of land that has no natural access to water.
Yeah.
And so this area used to rely on these big cisterns. So during the raining season,
does, to be fair.
Probably does. We all probably should be better about that. When it is raining, you collect that water, then you use it. And so it's very imperative that you're kind of managing that.
Yeah.
And then you're building up workshops, and then actually in between the workshops, you can start building up gardens and kind of. Yeah. So it's I don't know if it's going to be this like semi-cooperative or like positive player interaction kind of game where it's like, hey, we both benefit if we build this garden. You're hoping to edge each other out or what it might be, but I really love the kind of ways that it's using the history of this region and kind of like the challenges it produces in terms of like being able to produce resources and food and stuff and bringing that into the middle of kind of a classic like merchant stuff, selling things and whatnot. So that's one that Vladimir Suchy, every year we're on the lookout around Essen. Like, what are you coming out with?
I will blind buy every game he makes.
100%. Yeah. So this is no different for us, and I can't wait to find out more.
Number 7's been here for a couple months, probably going to be here for a couple more months. This is Arcs. Arcs is one of the hottest games on the planet, has been for a couple months now. This is the new leader games where you're taking a faction. And it's this weird, interesting kind of game where there's a little bit of trick taking where that's kind of dictating what actions you do. And it's really important that you go first because you then get to kind of like dictate the kind of actions that you can do on that turn. Yeah. Because if you don't want to do that, you can like pivot and stuff, but it's kind of got like light trick taking, area control, whole bunch of different stuff. It's very, very mean. You can like steal resources and stuff from each other.
Blow each other's ships and cities up and stuff. You're very much trying to get in each other's way. You're trying to give yourself an advantage, take away another person's advantage, but with that interesting card mechanism where basically if you can kind of, play a card first and set the suit, which is the action type, you get to do a whole bunch more action points versus if you can't beat that card with a higher card, you're going to get pretty nerfed on your turn, but you can do different things to seize initiative and all sorts of stuff. That kind of
push and pull is really interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And like trying to figure out a way, like how can I make sure I'm going first next turn so I guarantee myself the action I want to do versus having to follow or again, break suit and kind of have like a lackluster turn because I want to do an action that isn't what led. It's really an interesting way to do a big, ultimately space battler, beat 'em up kind of game. And people have been really digging it. So that's Arcs.
Number 6 is going to be a new version of a classic, and this is Tikal Legends.
Yes, this is a Michael Kiesling and Wolfgang Kramer.
Kramer Kiesling,
the dynamic duo, the classic duo.
You're doing it still.
Yeah, it's amazing the success they've had, both as a pair and individually.
Like Kiesling is like Azul, one of the biggest games ever. It's like, and they've both done very fine.
Kiesling and Kramer always make really interesting stuff together. So this is, Tikal Legends, they're bringing, Super Meeple's bringing it back. And I think probably adding a couple things or maybe sprucing up some stuff from a classic game.
We will say there's no like videos of the game, there's no pictures of the game, there's only the cover. But the cover is very, very pretty. I mean, it's very cool. Gorgeous. So I'm really, really excited to see kind of what they do. We haven't played Tikal the original, but it's a classic, you know, and so I really, really am excited about this one. People are really excited about this one. It's always nice when they kind of bring back these older games, spruce them up, add some stuff, or if there's been a lot of expansions, kind of putting it in one big box.
Yeah, or deluxifying the components, maybe make it a little more modern that way.
And Tikal's getting that treatment, and people are very excited, and we are too, because I've always wanted to play it.
Yeah.
And this version, I think, is going to be really, really cool.
Up next is Leviathan Wilds.
Yeah.
This is from Mooncrab Games. They're doing a second crowdfunding campaign.
And I think they have an expansion in this one as well.
An expansion as well. So this is a game that has this cool game book to it. That are your different scenarios, and in each of these, you you kind of craft a deck, and you are playing these climbers. They're called. And you are going to help a Leviathan, a giant creature.
Huge
that
creature.
is the board, is this creature. And you are climbing up it, scaling it, jumping from section to section, you're trying to help these creatures.
Yeah, because there's like these corrupted
They've been
crystals.
like bound by these these.
So you're going around trying to destroy those crystals to free the Leviathan, but because the Leviathan is corrupted, it doesn't know what's going on, and so it does not like you.
It's just frenzied, essentially. It doesn't know that you're there to help it, so it's trying to attack you, so you're dodging these attacks. You're trying to move strategically around to not get walloped by this thing.
Because I think they're telegraphing what they do, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like all those great kind of big boss battle games where there'll be a card that comes out, so you see it's going to do this this sweeping side to side attack. It's going to affect these areas of the board, so you need to get your people out of those areas. The way you're playing your cards and you're running out of your deck is representing your grip strength, which I think is just really cool. They do a lot of fun things.
There's so much fun themed stuff in this game. Yeah,
you can hop onto a ledge though and kind of catch your breath and recover some cards and stuff. And you each have some asymmetric abilities, and there's a lot of room through the different scenarios to get new cards and kind of start to craft a more asymmetric deck.
Because each scenario is a different Leviathan.
Yeah, they're all different kind of challenges, different attacks.
All different. And they attack totally. They're completely different. It's really cool. And I know Shub Sit Down did a video about this, and No Pun Included. I'm pretty sure they both really liked it.
Yeah.
We played it a while ago, back when it was on the Kickstarter the first time, and really enjoyed it. And so I'm really excited to see it get the success that I think it deserves, because I think it's a really cool game, a really cool concept.
Yeah, it's really cool to see it have enough success to do a second printing and an expansion, which I imagine just comes in the form of new Leviathans, maybe a new character to try. It's really cool. And again, the way they use the kind of spiral-bound book to just be able to turn pages and have a new map. Your board is just like so economical. I appreciate it. That is Leviathan Wilds.
Number 4, we've talked about for a couple months now. It was, I think, the hottest game of Gen Con?
I think it was the hottest game going into Gen Con, and it was absolutely so sought after. This is Rock Hard 1977.
Let's go Jackie Fox.
Jackie Fox.
We had to have dinner with Jackie Fox and Lincoln and Nikki.
We did. We had a Jackie / BGG lunch. How good was that?
It was great.
That was the funnest time. So yeah, this was from Devir, and Jackie Fox is a rock star from the 70s and made a board game about being a rock star in the 70s. And people were obviously very excited. They had a limited amount of copies. I think it was around 100 a day or something.
Well, there's 100 a day, I think, in the booth, and then Devir had a room, and there was 100 more over there. And they would each sell out like that.
Yeah, the room, the side room.
We didn't get it. We didn't even try to get it, because we're just like, there's no way.
There's no way. It would have been cool, but we'll get it eventually. But yeah, this was just really exciting. Jackie was there to talk about the game, take pictures with people, kind of made herself available. And this is about running. It's about the early days.
Yeah, you're not a rock star yet.
Forming a band, you are not a rock star yet. You have a side job that you got to work and hopefully not get fired from, or maybe you can get fired from it because you're going to be huge and make it go for it. But you're trying to manage those early days of trying to make it as a band, which I think is kind of infinitely cooler than we're already a successful band and we're now doing ourselves.
Well, it's like how many origin stories of rock stars are always more interesting than like, oh, we're already a rock star. It's like, no.
Every biopic is about how this band came to be, right? So it's just a really cool world, a really interesting time in rock and roll, like the real heart of rock and roll. And from a perspective of someone who knows what they're talking about. They were there, they lived it, they met these people, they talked to these people, they are these people. I think it's just really, really neat and something that we haven't really seen in board games much. There's more and more kind of music games now, which we're both very happy to see. But I just love one that's just in the grime of like rock and roll in its heyday.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really cool. So yeah, it's one that we can't wait to play. It's was absolutely
huge.
The top thing people were gunning for
Sure
at
seems
Gen
like
Con,
it, yeah.
which was really exciting to see for Jackie, who we admire and really really adore.
Yeah. Number 3 is on crowdfunding right now. This is Spooktacular.
Spooktacular. This is a game about horror movies come to life.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I love the concept.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept.
It's, to me, it kind of reminds me like it's like Horrified in reverse, where now you are the bad guys and you want to just devour your guests. So this is a game where each player is going to be playing a unique movie monster. Essentially, you're kind of inspired by classic movie monsters. And you are going to have your own player dashboard. You might have your own pieces, your own kind of special actions you can do, and you are haunting and just menacing all these guests that are in a movie theater. They're going to be in different rooms and stuff, and you're going to move your monster or monsters around. You might have a blob that can keep like multiplying and stuff. Yeah. You'll be moving your monsters around and trying to spook guests, which kind of make them scattered. You can score points. You can devour guests. Which was good for getting these like tickets to score points and stuff. But you're kind of using the way that your monster acts and trying to build your strategy based on that. So like one of them is this like it's called the dead line. It's like a skeleton that's like making these calls. And so you're gonna be putting these phones out throughout the theater, and you're gonna be using other players' monsters like answer the phone essentially and do these special actions that way. It's
so cool.
So they all have different ways that they work, and you're trying to just menace these poor teenagers and stuff, which I think is so awesome.
Good, yeah.
It's so awesome. They all have these uniqueness and stuff to the monsters. So that is Spooktacular.
Number 2, I'm very excited about.
I cannot wait.
This is the Seven Wonders Duel kind of reskin, rework, and this is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth. This is a Lord of the Rings version of Seven Wonders Duel, and I'm like, I'm here.
Antoine, Bauza, and Bruno Catala do it again, folks.
They do it again.
This is, based on Seven Wonders Duel. We saw this ever so briefly at Gen Con.
We were trying to get a demo
it
that way.
Couldn't get in to get a demo. I wanted to so bad. But this is based on the mechanisms of Seven Wonders Duel. I don't know how copy and paste it is. There's definitely there's a board where you're moving units around and stuff, some area control type stuff.
It's definitely different.
Definitely different. There's a ring track. But you have the kind of card pyramid. So I think that's probably the part that is similar, is the way that you acquire and draft cards is from this kind of card pyramid. But of course, what the cards do are vastly different. There's ring cards and different, I think, the different kind of factions and stuff that are in Lord of the Rings. And of course, one player is playing the Fellowship side, one player is playing Sauron and Mordor and stuff. And it
seems so cool.
It's got vintage Detroit art.
I know, it's just gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
So rad, man. I just want to find out so much more about this and try it. I'm so excited. Seven Wonders Duel is just such a classic, great game that is so rock solid mechanically. Yeah. So I love seeing that getting put into something else and then seemingly adding a bunch of different stuff that you can now explore, but keeping that card period in the middle, which is just really kind of unique. So I cannot wait to try it.
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, man. It's just going to be, I'm freaked out. It's going to be so good. I assume. I hope. But we'll find out real soon. That's Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle Earth.
This game is everywhere on BGG right now. There's so many if you go down BGG, like half the hot videos, all of the hot images are all for Lords of Heaven.
Yep.
For a couple weeks now.
This has been almost more than any other month we've had. This is the consensus #1 hotness because, like you said, every single piece of anything for this game is in the hot area of its particular category on BoardGameGeek.
Yeah, Lords of Heaven is by Phalanx, and it's on Kickstarter right now. It's a asymmetric game where you can take one of 4 factions, and you're essentially trying to you're playing out the Crusades.
Yeah, the early Crusades.
Yeah, the early Crusades, and you're basically kind of like War of the Ring, where you're telling your own Crusade story, right? It doesn't necessarily have to fall out like the actual Crusades did. But all 4 of those factions are very, very asymmetric. You have card play and stuff like that. This is a game that it sounds weird to put it this way, but this is very much a BGG game. People who are on BGG a lot tend to love these kinds of games, which
high
is why
player interaction kind of stuff,
Yeah, which is why every hot image down there is a picture of Lord of the Heaven because people are just upvoting everything on it and stuff like that. People are super into this game, and I'm hyped. It seems cool. Again, I don't necessarily think it's a game that's going to be for us.
Yeah,
because we're just not really into. There's like negotiating. You can like kind of like create alliances with like one of the other factions.
Yeah, you're kind of like are I think benefited by kind of working together, but you all ultimately want to win individually. Yeah. So at some point that alliance is going to break.
Exactly. You know? So that's definitely not our kind of game. But like this is one of those games where like I can appreciate how hyped people are.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How into it people are, and I'm like, wow, good for Phalanx because they have a bona fide smash hit on their hands, at least based off of how into people in BG are into it. Yeah,
it's always a good thing, and that's just a reminder that you can, control the hotness by clicking on a game you're interested in, thumbing up those images, leaving comments, starting a forum about talking about a game. These are all the things that determine where things appear on the site. Is just simply by what people are talking about and clicking on BoardGameGeek itself, which is really, really cool. Yeah. So speaking of games that people are clicking on and stuff, what has everyone been playing
So
this
at the end of the video, at the end of this part, we always do the top 10 most played games of the month. So these are people who have logged their plays on BGG. So make sure to log your plays.
Make sure to log it. And I think the segment is officially at this point sponsored by Board Game Arena. Because it pumps up the numbers.
Okay, is there anything on, there's one game on here that is, I would say, is not the Board Game Arena effect. Okay. Everything else is because of Board Game Arena. Let's be honest.
And because they're good games.
They are. Number 10 is going to be Captain Flip, which has 7,264. Great game.
7,000. Wow, people are playing games right now this time of year. 7,200 is the bottom.
I think during the winter you're going to see all this go up. Yeah. Wingspan's next was 7,384.
Nice.
The next one is Marvel Champions, the card game. That's the one that's not because of BGG. Yeah. 7,476. Terraforming Mars was 7,511. Trio, or Nana, with 8,503. Azul with 8,523.
Love that game.
Sea Salt and Paper with 8,670. Harmonies with 9,108.
Wow.
Sky Team with 9,830. And number one, as always, a good 2,000 above everything else is Arc Nova with 10,834.
I've added 5 or 6 plays to that myself, so that's on me.
Arc Nova's always ahead by like 2,000, which goes to show just how hot Arc Nova still is.
It's so, we've talked about it. It was in the official hotness. It's always in the hotness list. It's not necessarily in the top 10, but it's around.
I was on BGA the other day playing a game with my friend, and after the game, I was kind of clicking around because you can see how many active games are moving. Yeah. And I was like, I wonder what's and Arc Nova was like 10,000 more than anyone else. I mean, there's like 10,000 games of it going on right now. I mean, it's just insane how many people are playing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think it's just always awesome when a game captures people that much. So those are the hottest games, the most played games. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other areas of Board Game Geek and choose a couple things that we really like with some Murph Picks. My Murph pick is something that is just like, I think would be super cool to do sometime in a romantic world where I was a different person. This is a post by an Argentinian game designer named Juan, who's currently in Switzerland, and they're going to be going to their first Essen Spiel convention, and they are going to hitchhike there. They're going to kind of make their way up to Germany and stuff, and they feel like that's a really good way to kind of see the countries, and that's how they like to get around, and so they are using the internet, using specifically Board Game Geek, to coordinate with people to, if you can help hitch a ride to the convention or to meet up along the way or at the convention itself. They want to meet up, talk game design, play games, old and new alike. And it's just something that's really cool. It's a really cool use of Board Game Geek, this kind of way to organize. I think it's a really useful thing, and it's something I'm personally always enjoy following on people on social media who are doing these like big hitchhiking trips or kind of going across the world in different ways to try to experience different cultures and things like that. So I think it's just a really neat thing that just kind of like, oh man, in some different world where I didn't have the responsibilities I have, it'd be really cool to be brave and do something like that. I don't think I am that person, but I would love to be. So shouts out to Juan.
All right, my Murph pick is going to be a hot discussion, a discussion called Exercising That Teach from 10 years ago. This is by Tom Tempest, and Tom taught the game Space Alert about 10 years ago in 2014. And Space Alert and a lot of CGE games, particularly like Vlaada Chvátil CGE games, have a lot of humor in the rule book. And I really like that in the rule book. I think it's really, really cool. But Tom was trying to teach this game to his core game group really late at night, and it went really, really badly, like just absolutely terrible. And then Tom was talking about how their core game group would not try it again. He had had success teaching this game to other people, but their core game group wouldn't try it. So eventually they tried it again. They had a really great time. It was great to like exercise that demon, right? Like to get that monkey off your back of this really, really bad teach. So I like this discussion because I thought it was very relevant to everyone, right? Everyone has either a time that they taught a game very badly or a time they were taught a game very badly, and either one of those instances can really ruin a game for somebody. And it's really nice when you have that redemption. So I want to say down in the comments below, let me know, is there a time where you either taught a game very badly and kind of messed it up for a bunch of other people, and did you have that redemption? Or is there a game that you were taught very badly and then you then had it redeemed for yourself? I guess you gave it another shot, learned it again, and then were able to really, really enjoy it. Because I think everyone has one of those situations for both of those. And sometimes you're like, you know what? I got to give this game another shot because I think it was just taught bad. Or maybe it was in a bad situation where it was too late at night, whatever, something like that. And you gave it another shot and you redeemed yourself, you redeemed the game. What's one of those for you?
And we always like to end this this video by talking about our favorite personal game, new or old, doesn't matter, that we played this month. Now, for me, it's a tiny little card game called Park Life People Edition.
I haven't played this yet. You are loving this, though.
This is a trick-taking game that has some fun stuff going on because you actually want to win with the lowest card to take the trick, and you get to collect the card that you scored.
Yeah.
And you're playing over 3 rounds. But you want to play as high a card as possible because the values of the cards are their points and stuff, but you also have to discard cards when you win tricks, so you're kind of limiting what your hand is. And if you're playing 2-player, you can actually play this game cooperatively, and you're both trying to get to 45, which my wife and I have been playing a ton, and it's a really difficult challenge to actually get it done. So I'm really loving this game. It was just this kind of unexpected gem from Gen Con for me.
Yeah, really. I had never heard of Mike was like, I heard about this game, I want to go get it. And then I was just like, I don't know what this is, but you bought it. I'm glad to hear you're loving it.
Yeah, let me know about it.
My favorite game is gonna be, it was honestly, truly one of my favorite gaming experiences, period, like in my life.
Ever.
We played all the way through Slay the Spire recently. We actually did it on a stream over on our channel. And we played through all 3 acts. And so we went all 3 acts because we've played the first act a bunch of times, but we haven't had a chance to, we haven't had the time, we haven't had a chance to like sit down and play through the second act and then play through the third act as well. And it was so much fun. We had so much fun. I was playing the Silent, Mike was playing the Defect. We got through all 3 acts. We ended up winning the whole thing, although it really didn't look like we were going to.
Yeah, preposterously so we did.
Oh man, it was so much fun. I really love Slay the Spire, the video game. Both of us do. And the board game implementation is so good. And it was so much fun going through. It was one of my favorite gaming experiences, bar none, total. It was so much fun.
I agree.
So yeah, that was my favorite of the month, my favorite of the year in terms of gaming experience. It was such a good time.
It was so fun. Yeah, it was just really fun to finally get to go all the way through it, and to win was just like icing on the cake. So those are our favorite games we played this month. Those are some awesome things going on Board Game Geek. But let us know what's going on for you. What are some games that you're really excited for that we haven't heard about? What games have you been playing that have been your favorites? Put all those in the comments below so we can check them out.